Welcome to the Ultimate Seattle Sports Show. Alongside Chris Egan from Folgers, I'm Paul Sylvie. It is day 2 of the NFL Draft, which means rounds 2 and 3. A lot to get to today. And right now, let's talk about round 1. The Seahawks take Notre Dame running back Jadarian Price with the 32nd pick. I know looking in, you think this was maybe a camping show with Chris Egan and his coffee out, his flannel. This is not a camping show.
Paul, let me explain. It's Flannel Friday here, at least for myself. I am fired up about the pick. I'm fired up that the Mariners are back in action. I'm fired up about one of our former Prep Zone athletes having a big day yesterday. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the draft. But you know what I'm really fired up about today, Paul? It's Friday. For me, that may sound interesting because I'm actually working Monday through Friday now. For the first time, Paul, since 1997, this is my first legit Friday. I hear everybody on Friday, oh, it's Friday. You know, usually you got to work Saturday and Sunday for myself, so Friday felt like Wednesday. Today, Friday feels like a Friday.
Well, you know, yeah, I know what you mean. Like, even when you have a vacation and you know you're off that Saturday and Sunday, having that Friday that means Friday is a big deal.
I get it now. I get it. Yeah. I haven't had a legit Friday since 1997, Paul. A lot of people watching this were not even born then.
All right. Look, before we talk about the rest of this show, you know, what did you think about the first round? A little surprise?
No, I think we talked about it since Monday. At least I've said that. We listened to Rob Rang. We listened to Brock Heward. We've listened to Greg Bell. We knew that they needed a running back. This is the Super Bowl defending champions. You go with what you need. The running back was there, second best running back. We talked about it all week long, Paul, that there's not a lot of running backs in this draft. It was obvious, that they weren't going to be able to move down when the trades were all rolling in. So they went with what was on their board. John Schneider did it last year. It worked. They did it this year. Let's hope it works as well.
Yeah, it was interesting to see because Jadarian Price is one of those guys, when you got to the 30th, 32nd pick, he was kind of just by himself because there's a big gap, according to the scouts, between his talent and the next group of running backs who are going to be in the second and third round. So we're going to look ahead now. Let's take a look at what's on tap for today's show. A lot of draft talk, not only from us, but from Seahawks GM John Schneider. Why the potential trades did not materialize. We'll also hear from head coach Mike McDonald, as well as first-round pick Jadarian Price, and the moment he got the call from the Seahawks. We'll also look ahead to other Seahawks needs and the possible moves over the next 2 days in the draft. And we'll talk some baseball. The Mariners open a weekend series in St. Louis. Let's get back, though, to the NFL draft. And, teams always get a chance to get graded on their performance of the draft. And Chris, the Seahawks aren't getting a whole lot of love from the national media.
And I want to ask Greg Bell about that as well, but I have a feeling where his answer is going to go, Paul. And here you go. Yahoo Sports, D. NFL.com, B. CBS Sports, B-. USA Today, B-. Hey, Yahoo, who won the Super Bowl this year, Yahoo? Who won the Super Bowl? Paul, was it the Seahawks? Yes, it was. Paul, what, you remember when Wagner and Russell Wilson were drafted? I think they got an F that year. I remember being at Seahawks, and people were like screaming like, oh, my God, Russell Wilson, who is this guy? Why are they drafting this guy? The Seahawks had a need. They went out and got that need. I get it. Everybody wants a deal. Everybody probably says you could have got that running back somewhere in the second round. Guess what? The Seahawks could not make a trade down. They needed that running back. They went out and got that running back. And here's what I also love, Paul, about this. You get that running back for 4, possibly 5 years in the prime of his NFL career, and you don't have to pay him like you're going to pay Ken Walker. I mean, the Chiefs are paying Ken pretty big money right now, Paul. The Seahawks don't need to pay that for Price.
No, and we've talked about it throughout the week that the NFL has devalued the running back, and running backs that get a second contract like Walker got from the Chiefs. That's almost become a rarity where you can get paid big time on that second one. You always try to hope for that second contract, that first free agent contract. So you can't complain about Walker signing with the Chiefs. That's a great thing. Well, during his pregame presser, GM John Schneider came right out and said it's no secret. We're looking to trade down. Well, those opportunities did not materialize. Here's John.
Great player, great person. We thought we had some opportunities for a minute. They fell apart. There's a lot of trading going on there, right ahead of us. But I mean, he was he kind of stood alone. I mean, great player. The person's outstanding. The competitor. He's just he's a Seahawk. It's really cool. I mean, we were kind of actually concerned that people were going to go ahead of us because it was. It felt like it was just so out there, in terms of like mock drafts and what have you.
Yeah, you could see a little bit about, read a little bit about, you look at Mike Macdonald, you look at John Schneider, they come out to meet the media after a long day in the war room, and they're both worn out. They didn't have a whole lot to say, but, you can tell by John Schneider's reaction there that maybe he was a little bit nervous. There were so many trades ahead of those guys with that 32nd pick, and he was afraid that maybe someone else was going to jump up and get Price. And quite honestly, with all the moves that were being made, it was kind of a wonder that other teams didn't jump up on Price, but they didn't have that need for a running back. So, Chris, you look at Schneider and you listen to what he has to say here, and he basically said this guy was standing alone there because there was a big gap after Price when it came to the running back stable.
And I think that's what it's all about, Paul. It's that gap, and if you don't go with Price there, you're possibly gonna miss him on your next pick, and then your next pick after that, Paul, is what are we sitting at 64 as your next pick? So the chances of getting him there were absolutely zero. So then again, it's like once again, Yahoo Sports, go ahead and give us the D. We don't care. We don't care. That man cares about this team. He went out. He got a running back. That's what they needed. Now we talk about what's next. I think they go after an edge rusher next, then possibly go after a cornerback. They don't have a lot of needs, Paul. Let's be honest. They do not have a lot of needs. What was the big thing we've talked about since Walker left and since Charbonnet has to have surgery? Running back. They went out and got the second best running back in this draft.
But when you look at the Seahawks history and the fact that this is only the fourth running back they've ever taken in the first round. Last guy was Rashad Penny. That didn't work out well. And, of course, the first two guys, Kurt Warner and Sean Alexander, of course they worked out.
Not bad.
They're tremendous picks right there. But in their 51-year history, this is only the fourth guy in the running back position they've taken in the first round. So it's interesting, and we're going to get into the positives and negatives that people think about this pick.
And Paul, we're going to hear it. The negatives, he has fumbled in the red zone a little bit as well. How is he in the passing game? That's something I think that they're going to have to work on a little bit. He didn't catch a lot of passes at Notre Dame. So it's 4 fumbles in his career, Number 3 in his class, only 15 career receptions, second worst in pass protection. So there are the negatives right there, Paul, but there's so many positives in my mind that outweigh the negatives. 28.3% missed tackles, force race, number 1 in his class. Only 280 carries in his career. That's low wear and tear. I agree with that. You're getting a kid that's in his prime. He's ready to roll. 21.2% explosive run rate. Explosive run rate. I don't even know what that means.
Velo, Chris?
I don't even know what that means, Paul, but it sounds sexy and it sounds deadly.
Well, the other take on this is that there are some positive and negatives with everybody. When you ask these guys as they go into the scouting combine and they head into the NFL draft, you say, here's what guys are saying about you, and it's almost laughable but they have to do this. You have to understand that when the scouts go in there and they break down the talent levels of all these players, they give you their pros and cons, their weaknesses and their strengths, and clearly that's one of the weaknesses and one of the concerns that people have about taking Price in the first round is the fact that he never started a game. You're taking a running back in the first round with no starting, not a lot of starts, no starts when it comes to Notre Dame. But head coach Mike Macdonald knows how important a strong running game is and was to the Super Bowl championship season of the Seahawks. Here are his thoughts on Price.
You learn about the person, about the leadership, the resiliency, the humility. Just the commitment to Notre Dame by staying there.
Yeah, loyalty. Yeah.
Loyalty. It's like family story, all those things. It's a great, cool story. Someone that you get excited about, you love talking to, and you can envision him, just sticking out here. Like you can feel him in the building and feel like he's one of us.
Wait a minute. You can hear it in Mike Macdonald's voice, Chris. Hold your thought.
Okay.
Yeah? You can tell. We listen to Mike Macdonald all season long. He's fired up. He's on point and everything. Right there It looked like he's been up for 24 hours, man. He's getting through that presser. Man, looks tired.
He looked better, though, than Sean McVay after their pick. I'll say,
Yeah,
I'll
we'll
say
get to
that,
that
Paul.
later,
He looked excited.
And McDonald had a fresh haircut, too,
Yeah,
so the whole thing was working. But the voice, you could tell in his voice, he was a little worn out.
He's stacking up haircuts. I will say this, Paul. He uses the word loyalty, and we talk about here's a kid that didn't have any starts at Notre Dame because obviously arguably the best player in the country was ahead of him. He could have gone anywhere, Paul. He could have gone anywhere and started anywhere. That's how good of a player this is. But that word loyalty, that is something that means something to the Seattle Seahawks, and I love that they saw this in him. Obviously, they're not drafting him at number 32 because of the word loyalty, but it's a nice little, we heard from Brock yesterday, Paul, on this show. We heard from Dave Wyman on this show. The Seahawks right now have a secret sauce, and if you're going to come onto this franchise, you better be able to have a little bit of that secret sauce, and I think this young man does.
Yeah, they talked about the loyalty in the pre-draft presser on Monday as well, that's important to it. And they asked John Schneider on that day, hey, does loyalty mean anything when you go into the draft? And I was actually surprised. He said, yeah, it does. It means a lot when a player stays at a university for 4 years, 3 years, whatever it takes to get his playing days in. But Price talked about it too, and he said in his comments last night after the draft, he said that he did have other offers to go play other schools, and he just didn't want to do it. So sometimes what gets lost in the excitement of the NFL draft is the emotions from the players and their families. Listen to the reaction from Jadarian Price when John Schneider called him to let him know he was going to be a Seahawk.
Hello? Jadarian.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, bud? John Schneider with the Seahawks.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, we're getting ready to pick you right here, brother.
Yes, sir.
And we're really excited for you, man. All your stuff throughout the spring was outstanding. It's so fun watching you play, and man, we can't wait to make you a Seahawk, bud.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
Hey, all right. Hey, here's our head coach. Congratulations, brother.
Thanks. Yes, sir.
Hey, you're a Seahawk, man.
Let's go, man.
First round pick. Congratulations, brother.
Thank you so much.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm ready to ball, man.
That's awesome. Who are you with right now?
I'm with the family, everybody.
Oh, that's
everybody.
great, brother. That's great. Congratulations.
I am getting goosebumps, Paul. I don't want you to touch me right now, but my body.
I won't touch you
Yeah,
ever.
thank you, Paul. Don't. My body is goosebumps from my head to my toes right now. I mean, it's just like hearing. I could rinse and repeat and listen to that all day long.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. You see the big board in the back, all the work that goes into it, all the scouts. I mean, it's just so many people that are involved with this one pick from the Seahawks side, and then you think of Jadarian. And all the people involved from his side, his family, his grandparents, his aunts and uncles, the ones taking him on the car rides to practices, the coaches along the way from junior high to high school. There's so many people involved on both sides of this. Those are the moments I just love. That's why I love sports. I love those little moments right there. Pretty cool stuff last night.
Yeah, listening to him, a lot of the players got worked up and emotional during the draft, the first round. But when you listen to his voice crack there, and he's just trying to hold it together while he's talking to the GM and the head coach, it really definitely touches your heart. Price had a chance to talk to the Seattle media about that anxiety he had throughout the first round of the draft.
It was wild because I was walking around the whole room, and as soon as Seattle was up, I was like, all right, this is the last one. I'm going to sit down. As I was going to sit down, I get the call, and emotions just hit. I mean, I thought I would be a little bit more calm, but that phone call is a little different when you get that phone call, and it's just immediate tears and joy.
Yeah, I mean, you've worked your whole life, Paul, for this moment, and to get that call has to be something pretty special.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I know you and I both watched the draft, and you try to stay tuned in as much as you can because it's going 3 hours. You know the Seahawks aren't picking until 32. I'll be honest, I was kind of chiming in around the 20s to see if Schneider was going to make a move or not, and nothing ever happened. And it just kept getting closer and closer to 32. I'm like, he's going to make a pick. After, you start reading on social media, like, this doesn't look like it's going to materialize. And it was a little anxious there in the 25th, 26th, 27th. You get to those picks, late 20s, and you start to wonder what the Seahawks are going to do. And then you realize, man, he's actually going to make his pick. Well, maybe he was just throwing the smoke screen that we talked about earlier this week, Chris. Everybody's saying, hey, do you really think he would come right out and say, we're looking to trade down and tip his hand right away?
You know what? I think in the end, Paul, they still may have. I just don't think the trades were there. I think the teams that wanted to trade up into the draft already did. So, unfortunately, maybe coming into the night, the Seahawks did have a couple dance partners, but as the draft went on, the dance partners, they went out onto the floor, and there was no dance partners to be had there in the end, and they went with their number one pick. And they get them. They get their running back right there. And there's, those moments with the parents. We saw that with the young star from Graham Capallison, his family celebrating last night from Penn State. He goes to the first round. And then you got the other angle, Denzel Boston, somebody that a lot of people thought would go in the first round from the University of Washington, Emerald Ridge. He did not. I have a good feeling he'll go early in round 2. But we see the highs, but there's some moments where some families are still waiting for those phone calls, and hopefully they'll get them today, Paul.
Yeah, you bring up the big fellow, Vega Uwane from Graham Capallison, the big Penn State stud. He's 6'4", 330 pounds. That guy's going to be fun to watch. Just a terror on the inside of the offensive line. Coming up, we'll continue our draft coverage with Seahawks writer Greg Bell of the Toma News Tribune. I can't help but laugh a little bit because he's going to tell us why Rams head coach Sean McVay was seemingly not happy, with the Rams' first-round decision. Coming up.
Yeah, he was pissed.